Hello everyone and welcome back to Hockey Talk. I'm your host Jack Brooks, and today I will be talking about a prediction I made before the season started and talk about how it's looking for that prediction so far. And before we get started, last podcast I didn't do a bold prediction, so I will do one this time. And on that note, let's get started into this episode. So, as you may know, before the season started, I made a prediction about who will be the number one seeds in both conferences. And now I said that for the Western Conference, the Vegas Golden Knights will be the number one seed, and here's how they're doing so far. So now the Las Vegas Golden Knights, they're seventh in the division with a record of 7 wins, 9 losses, and 1 loss in overtime. Now, to me, they can still very well end up in the number one seed. They can definitely make a mid-season comeback, as we've seen the Penguins do many times, and they've already proven us that they can, against all odds, do phenomenal in a season from last year. First expansion team to make the Stanley Cup since the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've proven themselves in the NHL. Yeah, they're not doing too good, but I know I said, just like we've seen the Penguins make comebacks in the season and end up doing really well. Yes, you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's such a good hockey team, such a great franchise. But the thing about this, the Vegas Golden Knights, this is their second year in the NHL, and they've already made it to the Stanley Cup. They didn't win it, but boy, did they come close. It was so competitive and so awesome watching them last season. They've proven against all odds that they can turn nothing into something, literally nothing in this case, for the expansion team from last season. And now they can definitely still surprise us, and it's early in the season. This is a great hockey team with very, very, very great management, so I think they can still become the number one seed without a doubt. And now, right now, if you guys are wondering, the number one seed is the Nashville Predators at the moment in the Western Conference. But yes, this is just a very good hockey team. Their offense, they're doing good. Their offense, we got Marc-Andre Fleury, a bunch of all-stars offense. They can brush up on their defense. Their defense is still good, but they definitely do need brushing up on it. But beyond that, this is a great overall hockey team, so I definitely think that they still have a chance at being the number one seed. And now the team that I predicted to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, none other than the defending champions themselves, the Washington Capitals. Now the Capitals are 6th in the division and 7-5-3, and I know none of my predictions are looking good so far, except for the Sidney Crosby one. Also, if you haven't watched that one, please go back and watch my last episode. But now look, they still have a good fighting chance at becoming the number one seed. Alexander Ovechkin has gotten his ring, finally, the ring that he deserves. He knows that this team is a competitive hockey playing team. They're only 6th in the division. That's right dead center, middle, well, not quite right dead center, but it's still pretty close. They've been going up and down a lot this season, so if they can just get some momentum, for me, like they have proven the past couple of years, even though last year was their first cup win, they have proven to us that they can get momentum in the regular season. Sure, after that they lost a couple times in the first or second round of the playoffs, but that is but we're talking about the regular season and who will end up being the number one seed. This is just a great hockey team that definitely can have momentum in the regular season. So to me, they are still a very, very good team, obviously, and they can definitely, even since it's early in the season, like I said, going up and down. They just need to get some momentum shifted towards their side, and they can definitely just power through the rest of the season and become the number 1 seed. And now, if you watch my second fantasy hockey episode, you would know that Alexander Ovechkin was indeed in the top 5 fantasy players among all of the NHL this year. He continues to play well, and the Caps definitely need this player. Like I said, he finally got his ring last year. Very good player, multi-time all-star, just absolutely great hockey player. Now look, Alexander Ovechkin, he's arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time. There's actually no doubt about that. There is some argument about him being the greatest, which I might do another episode on, but of course, there is no doubt that he is one of the greatest. This guy is so competitive. Like, sure, his team will always hook in the playoffs, but he does manage to find a way to get his team do his team really well in the regular season. So, also another key part of their offense is him. So they can definitely get back with the help of him and the rest of their offense. And also, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the number 1 seed right now in that conference. And now, as promised, I will do a bold prediction, and this week's bold prediction will be, if the Penguins continue to play bad like they have been doing this season, Sidney Crosby will still be in the top 5 best players in the regular season, and here's why I think that. Now, once again, going back to part 2 of the fantasy episode 1, Sidney Crosby was in the top 5, and that's fantasy-wise. But now, look, the Penguins, they were in first place in the conference, first place in the division. Now they're dropping, yes, but Sidney Crosby continues to still play well. If you watch my first episode and also another recapping prediction episode that I did, I had the Penguins winning the Cup with him as MVP. He has gone back to back with his team. He is no stranger to the playoffs. And yes, the Penguins were looking so high and then dropped so low. But he continues to perform all the time. He has already shown this season that even though his team is doing bad, he can still be in the top 5 fantasy players. Now listen, when I did the fantasy episode, I'm not really sure if they were doing bad or if they were still number 1 in the division or conference. I believe they were number 2 in the division and like 3rd in the conference. But I do remember checking recently, well, the Penguins were in one of the bottom spots in their division. He was still amongst the top 5 best fantasy players. And I know I'm talking a lot about fantasy here, but listen, for you to be in the top 5 best fantasy players so far in the season, that needs a hell of a lot of stats. Now look, this guy is very good. Even when his team might be struggling, he will pick it up. He knows what he needs to do on the ice. He is just a very good all-around hockey player. He has phenomenal stats already in the season. I know it's early in the season, but to be putting up the stats that he has already, that is just so phenomenal. And to me, he is doing so good. So if his team continues to kind of slump, he has proven that he can still perform, and that's why I think he'll be in the top 5 best players this season if his team continues to play the way that they have been since they dropped. And now that's what I'm going to end this episode on. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed. Please like the podcast and comment down below on who you think will end up being the number 1 seed in each conference. Also, please join me here next week on Saturday where I will do another episode. And until then, I'm Jack Brooks signing off for now here on Hockey Talk.